Yeah, we're live in the Facebook group, Fava. Let me refresh so I can see how this looks like. Okay, so everybody drop a 1, please, if you can see us, if you can listen to us, perfect. I see one person currently in the audience. So today, we are gonna be here with Sebastian Sovero, who is from Peru. He's coincidentally from the same country as I am, which is Peru. So he's working as an ISA, as an inbound sales agent. He's calling one of our clients, Ryan's leads, and he's booking appointments with the leads. So tell me, Sebastian, like how do you gain experience for the job? Like what basically built you up to perform well at this job and to get this job?
Well, first of all, good evening to everybody that's listening, to everybody that's there. Glad to be here on this live. Sorry you can't see me. My camera isn't working, I guess. I can see the green light, but you guys can't see me for some reason. But either way, I feel like what really got me to the level where I am at is that I'm simply been working for sales previously for around 2 years, and that really helped me out. Although I'm not in sales exactly, I am making appointments, and it's really helped me out, that background of having sales experience, and also I was an interpreter. That helped my English get really good, and I'm glad to be here, and I feel like that's what really made me be really good at the job that I'm currently doing.
Awesome, man. So for a virtual assistant that is starting and who is, like, say, at the first day of their job and they need to book appointments, what would you recommend them? Like, what would you recommend that person? What do they need to do to succeed at the job?
My suggestion is, when you first start off, to really focus in understanding what your boss, which is what he is going to be selling, or what he's going to be providing as a service. You want to really learn a lot about that, so that you are very really good in terms, and you understand everything about the business. That way, when you get on call, or when you start answering messages or emails or whatever it is that you're going to be doing, you understand exactly how to do it and where those questions are coming from.
Okay, tell me a little more about the tools. You use Go High Level, right?
Sorry?
You use Go High Level CRM to make the calls, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, so that CRM, do you already know how to use it? Do you just go do it through the training? Do you just go through our training and learn it on the job? Or do you have previous experience with it?
Well, I have previous experience with 2 CRMs and another call system, which was completely different. But I feel like this CRM is very simple and very user-friendly. So I pretty much nailed it down in the first 2-3 days to understand exactly how it works. It's not very complex at all. It's a really good system.
Absolutely, and in our training, you have all the videos. It's like an encyclopedia of Go High Level that you can consult for any doubt that you have, right?
Exactly. You have all the tools there that you need, and it's very simple to learn.
Absolutely. Hey man, so about the English, because I know it's very hard to speak like a native speaker. I see you really have very good English, and I know some VAs sometimes might struggle to, of course, do better at their jobs, to be understood, because American customers, are very, very demanding. They have very high standards, high expectations. So when you call the clients, how do you make sure that they are at ease with you, and you don't make them feel like it's a salesman? It's a person that's talking to them, providing a solution that they might need.
Well, fortunately for me, I lived in Florida, Miami, in Sunny Isles or around Aventura for quite a while, for 7 years. So I really understand very well the language, and some little minor details that really help in the call, like just to understand exactly where they're coming from. And basically the sales experience also really helped me to understand the way that they like to talk. Just simple little details, simple little ways of speaking that make them feel more comfortable with you. They like it a little better.
Right, and when you have a very good call, like a call that really goes well or a call that really goes bad, do you typically record those calls and listen to them and see how you can improve?
Yes, of course. That's the really good thing about the CRM that I didn't have before in previous jobs, I never had recordings of the calls I had, and with the CRM, I have the recording, and it's simply really, really good to just go over it and see what I could have done better, or see what I did good so that I can replicate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Awesome, man. And just curious, how different is working in Peru, like at the jobs that you had, while working for an agency here in the United States? Was there any difference, or were you used to the demands, to the standards, expectations?
Well, I believe that when we're working for an agency from another country, I think that we have better conditions. The conditions of a worker are very important, and I think that the conditions that agencies from US or Canada or UK or wherever else that isn't really for me in my country, is really a lot better conditions, and that's something that I really appreciate and that I always try to go for.
Absolutely, man. So, what do you recommend to people who are considering, let's say in Peru or in Latin America, in the Philippines, a career as a virtual assistant or an ISA? What are the skills that they have to learn, and in what order would you recommend them to learn them?
Well, essentially, I'm assuming you're going to have to be trying to help somebody generate a greater income. And if that's the case, you need to understand that's the case, and you need to understand that you need to make them some kind of profit. And in that sense, you need to, in a way, also learn a little bit about sales. Just understand how you can help out the best that you can. And basically, it's always going to be important to also have English. I think that any agency that you work with, you're going to be speaking English. So it's very important that you have that language really nailed down. And as I said before as well, just to understand how you can help be beneficial to the company. Those are the two things that I think you would need to have, and obviously be a little tech savvy, understand basically how system works. That's what you're going to need to get started.
Absolutely, man. So let's talk about that point that you're making, which is very crucial. It's the results, right? So your goal, your ultimate goal is not to do 1,000 cold calls a day. It's to generate more revenue to the client, correct? Exactly.
It's
so
very
some virtual
important
assistants, go ahead, sorry.
No, it's okay. Some, at least for my boss, my client as well, it's very important for me to make appointments. The more appointments I make, the better they look as a company, and the more revenue I will be making, because they're going to get more clients since they're getting really good results. So if I want to stay in for the long run and grow, I need to make them this revenue. I need to make these appointments, and I need to make it happen. And I do. I don't just call for calling. I try to call up people that are going to be answering the most and giving me the best results.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So what would you tell a virtual assistant or an ISA that is, a little lost in the results, and they're just doing too much? They're just sending emails, but they are not focused on results. Like, they don't have a clarity in what the end goal is. So for that reason, they don't achieve. They just do a lot of volume. They send a lot of messages. They send a lot of texts. They make a lot of calls, but at the end of the day, they're not booking appointments. So what would you say those guys are missing out? What do they need to do better so they can achieve their goals?
Well, first of all, I would say volume is very important. This isn't numbers games. You need to treat every single lead like it's the best lead out there. So you need to call as much as you can, but at the same time, when you get on the phone with them, you need to be at your best. You need to be at the top of your game. Every single one of those leads can get you an appointment, and it's important that you show that in the call. Not just go for volume and just be answering for answering or talking for talking. No, your client doesn't care how much you dial. He's going to care more about the results that you're going to generate. So just be aware of that and try to find ways to make that happen. Like for me, when we get a hot lead, it shows like a little ticket, and I will always be looking at those tickets so that I can get so I can have a better opportunity to make an appointment. To always call those tickets first.
Right. So what happens whenever there is we're talking about Facebook or paid traffic leads, right? There's a lead that comes, and then do you get like a Slack channel notification, and then you need to call the leads? Is that how it works?
Right. In our case, it's more like when the client answers or books an appointment, like he self-books it, we call those immediately. I try to get the most ticket as possible, and as soon as it comes in, I get it and I call immediately. I stop whatever I was doing. I stop whatever client I was already calling, and I immediately call that, because that gives me a greater chance to make an appointment, because we know that that person is active because they just answered with a text, or they just made something happen. They just booked something. So for that kind of interest, those people are more interested. So they would be what we would call gravy leads. Those leads are the easy ones. So we want to make sure that we get those as fast as possible, and then keep dialing for the rest for the volume.
Exactly. Awesome, man. Is there any book or any resource, any additional training that you recommend as an ISA for other VAs or for people who are starting in the business? Like, what materials they need to consume to get better at this job?
Well, really focusing on understanding where your clients come from. So, for example, I'm working with people in the US, so I like to watch movies in English so that I really understand not just the language, but understand where they're coming from. What is their day-to-day? What is their jobs like? What matters to them? What doesn't? How should I introduce myself in the call so that they pay attention to me? That's something extremely important, and that can really change the results. The way that you introduce yourself, the way that you just start the conversation in those first 5 seconds is going to prove if he wants to listen to you or not. I would recommend that, and obviously always working in your English.
Absolutely. How do you typically start a phone call? Just let's do a test. Like, I'm a client, so you call me.
Well, I'd say, hi Christian, this is John with Solar Energy World. Have you been?
Great.
I would start off.
How about you? Right. How you say, how have you been? Right. Not how are you?
Exactly. I just start off very friendly, and I raise my voice, the tone of my voice. I just raise it so that they really hear me, and they understand that I'm asking how they have been. So I'm not asking, are you there or are you available? Because I feel like it's more direct to a conversation and not a sales. I'm a friend, right? Hey, Christian, how have you been?
Good, man.
I'm your friend, right?
Yeah.
I've been great. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. So awesome, man. Finally, have you seen the Wolf of Wall Street? It sounds like you've seen the movie, right?
Yeah, I love the movie.
Absolutely.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, it's a must for anybody who is in phone sales. I've done plenty of phone sales too. I've called thousands of leads for my clients and for myself, so I know exactly. I've been exactly in your shoes, and I was also pretty decent at it. I'm pretty good at setting appointments on the phone. Now, of course, there are some times where there are bad days where just nobody answers the phone. So I'm curious, what do you do? Let's say some days, and this has happened to my VAs too. Some days just be like, people are busy, they don't pick up the phone. Like, you do the work, right? You make the phone calls, but out of 100 people, just 1 or 2 answer the phone. So what do you do? Do you just keep calling the same list of leads? Do you move on? Do you call them at a different time?
Right, yep. I would try to call them at a different time, and I always have to try to be encouraged and understand that this is a numbers game. So sometimes they don't pick up and sometimes they do. But you call them back every single day until they answer, or until something happens where you can't reach them. But you never let a lead go. You're going to call consistently until you get a hold of them, and eventually they will. Sometimes you get hold of a bunch of them in the same day, and sometimes they're spread out throughout the week. But it's more, you have to count it. I try to count it like in every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks you get certain results, because daily it fluctuates too much.
Right, so do you call the same lead every single day, or do you do, like, let's call this person 2 days later, 3 days later in intervals?
That depends on how much you want to reach them, because for this is appointments. They made the first move. They gave us their information, and they put everything in their survey that they submitted, so they already gave the information. So they are looking for a call. They're looking out for it, most of them. So if they're already looking out for it, I have the right to call consistently. If it was something else, then I would call one and then maybe 2 days later. But this case, for this appointment settling for this exact job, I would call every single day and even twice, just to get a hold of them.
Yeah, exactly. And you call the same lead for at least 10 days in a row, right? I guess.
More. Even 15, and then I let them go for like a week, and then I go back and call them. But after like 15 days, we don't call so regularly. We call more or so 5 times or 4 times a week. well, almost a whole week, but we try to call less because we know that we're not getting a hold of them and we want to give them a little break. And then maybe we can get a hold of them, and it's like a hot lead when you get a hold of them. That's why volume still matters.
Yep. So somebody asks, how do you fight rejection? That's a great question.
That's a great question, and that depends on how it's coming to you, because there is objections, there are simple questions, and there are simply big no's, right? Like you have to try to understand that. That's something that I learned as a salesman. Like when he's asking a question that sounds like, is this going to cost me any money? It's a question. Yes, it sounds like a rejection and it sounds like a no, but it's just a question. You say, yes, sir. Now, like I was saying, and you continue. That would be like just to answer a question. If you answer the question and then you say, like I was saying, and you continue right where you were in the script, depending on what you were asking or where you were.
Now, if somebody says, go ahead.
Right. If it's more something like, I'm not sure, or I don't have time tomorrow, or I don't have time to talk right now, that's more like a rejection. That's more like a little of insecurity, or he's not really saying no, but he's not really saying yes either. And there's a way to handle that too. And then a objection, that's when you try to explain whatever you're trying to sell, just explain why it's beneficial, and if they say no again, then that's it. But the rejection is going to kind of, that place where it's not a no, where it's not a yes either, it has to depend on every situation how you're going to handle that.
Okay, and when somebody says like, I'm not interested, just don't call me again, of course you honor the request, right? You don't call them again, I guess.
Well, if he says that, I say, I completely understand, but I don't think you're understanding exactly what I'm telling you here. I want you to hear me out, see the opportunity, and if it works, great. If not, no problem. We'll end up as friends. But I want you to give it a shot. And I just continued to it as if I never heard what she said or he said, just to continue. And some people go with it. They're like, all right, sir. Yes, this is this. And they continue. They keep answering the questions. But sometimes they just hang up. But either way, if I never tried, I would have never known. So I just try on every single occasion and I get better results.
Awesome. Awesome, man. So finally, before we wrap up, how do you think you as an ISA, how can anybody as a virtual assistant do better? Constantly do better? Like what's the mindset that it takes to do better? What do you recommend for people who want to improve their game in general?
Well, what I think is the most important of all, like the biggest, what I would say, what's going to really change the way that people answer to you, the way that people see you, because they can't see you, right? They can't see how you're dressed, right? They can only hear your voice. So your voice is the only presentation they have. So you need to make sure that your voice sounds great. When you're saying something important, you lower your tone, you talk a little slower, and when you're introducing yourself, you're very full of energy and you say it loud and clear. So the way that you present yourself, which is your voice, is very important that you work on it. The way that you sound with confidence or you're not confident, that is very important. And then secondly is how to handle questions and objections. And then third is just to remember that this is volume. And you can have a bad day, but in the 2 weeks results, you can have great results if you just stick with those two things. Understand that your voice is important and that how to handle a rejection, an objection, and a question.
Exactly. Awesome, man. That was so helpful, really. I appreciate your time. That was Sebastian Sovero from Peru. Yeah, proud to be Peruvian as well.
Yes, sir.
So thanks a lot for your time. I hope you keep doing an amazing job. And for anybody who is watching this video, if you have any questions or if you would like to appear in one of these interviews, just send me a DM. I'm Christian John here on Facebook. So you can be in the next feedback interview. Hopefully you like this video. Thanks for watching. And thanks, man, for your time.
Of course. Thank you, Christian, for having me on. It was a pleasure. I had a lot of fun. It was nice answering these questions. I hope I helped whoever I could. I hope I can help anybody else because I wasn't always in this position. In the beginning, I didn't know how to work like this, and now I do. So I'm hoping that a lot of you can also learn how to do it. It's not very difficult. It just takes time.
Absolutely, man. So everybody who's watching, have a nice rest of your day. Bye.
Thank you, Christian. Bye bye, guys.